Hey crafters, crocheters, yarn enthusiasts. Today is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. I started my channel. Let's start with, my name is Jenny. Welcome to Granny Square Peg. I started this channel back in January of 2022 because I had lost my ability to crochet due to damage to my rotator cuff and a cyst in my arm. So I didn't crochet for over a year, the whole year of 2021 and parts of 2020. And I didn't start getting back to it until late January 2022. So that's my first video, is my introduction video, right? So in that year that I took off from crocheting, I had realized I had accumulated a lot of crochet stuff. Not just yarn, but pattern books, crochet hooks and other various little tools, and the yarn stash, but also the project pile. So the purpose of this channel was to help me work through my issues with crocheting, because as much as I love it, it can also be very all-consuming, and sometimes it's not a healthy relationship with crocheting. So I've been working through some issues, and it's having the channel and having somebody to talk to about it. I have shown you the oldest project that I have, which is a Patchwork Squares blanket from 2012. I've shown you something as recent as 2017 or 19, and then I realized I needed to work through my stuff chronologically in order, so I went through my pictures folder for 2012, 2013, 2014. So I'm showing you all my blankets and from my project pile, and it's going to be a lot. I did a video on some of my crochet books that I have and what I plan on purging and what I would like to keep, because even with all my books, I have a handful that I've never used. I actually have more books and more magazines and leaflets and pamphlets to go through, but I haven't gotten to them yet. When I started this, so today's video is about my crochet hooks, okay? So if you want to learn about my crochet hooks and which ones are my favorites, stick around. If not, you can always catch me on the next video when it's about a blanket. I take no offense either way. I have this zipper case, and it's from Boy. It's from the company that makes the crochet hooks, and it's this awful shade of pink, but whatever, it's okay. This zippered case is fairly new for me. I used to use a plastic cup that my grandma had given me, and I kept my crochet hooks in that for the longest time. But I had decided I wanted a little zippered case because my husband and my kids have been buying me new crochet hooks years ago to replace a lot of my old ones that are bent and crooked and have chew marks on them. So this is what this is. It has they're new. Okay, I do have two older hooks in here, but that's okay. So when I started out with my channel in January, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 crochet hooks. Okay, those are my 11 crochet hooks. I have a set of darning needles or sewing needles. I have 4 of those, 2 metal and 2 plastic, and a pair of scissors. That's all I had, because all of my other hooks are with the projects that I'm working on. I know it's a bad habit, but I leave my crochet hook with the project until the project is completely done, and then the hook can go back in whatever cup or container that's holding all of them. A couple years ago, besides my zippered pouch, I tried to keep all of my hooks together in this little shoebox bin. But what is in this little shoebox bin is not all that I own. I have so many more crochet hooks than this. What's missing out of all this are my favorites, because my favorites are used with the projects that they're sitting with. So as I go along cleaning out my yarn stash, my project pile, finishing up the blankets that I have that are in different stages of completion, and as I go through all of my stuff and try to get it all together in one spot, I have a feeling this little bin's going to be full of crochet hooks when I'm done. Because remember, in my introduction video I showed you my shed where I have 30 plus bins, boxes, and bags full of crochet stuff. I only have a handful of bins in the house because I'm short on space, so I bring one in, I work through what's in the bin, and then I can grab another one from my shed. So in my zippered case, let's go through this. I have a hook from Susan Bates. Now, I'm not typically a Susan Bates fan because I don't like the cut in on the shaft, right? But what I do like about this one is this wooden handle. I love this wooden handle on the Susan Bates hook. I wish I could take the wooden handle and take this hook out and put in my favorite hooks because I love the softness of the wood. And because I use a knife grip, the crochet hook usually hits me here, and with the regular metal aluminum crochet hooks, this sharp pointy end is always hitting me right there. So I always have a red spot and a sore spot. So I love this wooden handle on the Susan Bates hook. Can you see that okay? So when I do need softness, depending on what I'm working on or the length of what I'm working on, I will use the Susan Bates, even though I'm not a big fan of the way that the shaft and the cut-in is done. So this is a size G in US terminology, or a 4.00 millimeter for the rest of the world. I have two of these. I should have another one. Oh, yeah. So this is in my zippered case. This one's in my little shoebox bin. It is an H, or a 5 millimeter. Again, with that wooden handle. These are wonderful, wonderful handles for the hooks. I wish some of the other yarn companies would learn to use wood like that. It really does soften up the way the hook hits me. Now, there you go. I have two Susan Bates with wooden handles, okay? I grew up with just plain old aluminum hooks. Most of my hooks were my grandmother's, and then the ones that my husband and the kids have been buying for me. So my hook of choice is Boye, B-O-Y-E. And then, 10 years ago, they started making these rubber grips, ergonomic hooks. I do like them. The G is my favorite, but of course the G is not in any of this here. It's probably in whatever project I was working on. So this is an F, a 3.75 millimeter. It's a good grip. I wish the shaft was just a little bit longer because I have a lot of movement with my hook when I crochet. So, but if you're looking for something that's really soft on the hands, this is some kind of squishy plastic. It's got a gummy feel to it, but it's a good hook though. And I have, so this is in my zippered case, but I have another one here in my shoebox bin. It is still from Boye, and it's an H, or a 5 millimeter hook. So the H is my second favorite hook next to the G. So I have two from Boye. That is an F and an H, or a 3.75 millimeter or 5 millimeter. They're good grips for the hook, okay? For when you're getting older and arthritis is settling in, you know. It's a good hook. All right, so what else is in my zippered case here? I have a D, which is, excuse my really bad eyesight, 3.25 millimeter, and it's a standard basic aluminum hook. And it's from Boye. Alright. I have an H, which is a 5 millimeter. Love that purple, huh? Another H, which is a 5 millimeter in a traditional gold color. A lot of their hooks were goldish in color back in the day. I have an eye, or a 5.5 millimeter. I have another eye, which is a 5.5 millimeter. So these are my new hooks that I've only just, started piling up in the last couple of years. I've got a K, or a 6.5 millimeter. And I also have a size J, but I actually just took it out like 2 days ago and started a project with it. So it's over there with the project. Those are my new ones. Let me put them back in there real quick. And I have two older ones that are from my grandma. So these will have just the letter on them. It won't have the millimeters on them because it didn't put millimeters on them back in the 70s and the 80s. So, and you'll forgive me for not knowing them off the top of my head. So they are from Boy. And this is an E. And this is an F. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 10 crochet hooks, 4 darning needles, and the pair of scissors in my little zippered case. This is what I started out with in January. And then I recently made a trip out to my shed to look for something. I needed one of my tape measures because I can't find my little fabric tape measures. And I came across my little shoebox bin, right? Which has, let's see what we got in here. Pair of scissors, big pair of scissors so I can cut fabric with them. Tiny little embroidery scissors. I got these as a gift. I found one of my tape measures. It's a fabric tape measure. And it's blue. I have 2 more. One I've had since I was a teenager, but I must be sitting with a project somewhere because I can't find it. And what else do I have? I bought buttons from Etsy, from a shop that makes little buttons. That says Granny Square Peg, so I can put them on my blankets. So I actually have a whole box of the buttons, but I have just one in my little bin. Alright, let's see what else is in there. This is to help you size your hooks. Your crochet hooks and your knitting needles, okay? And it also has a ruler on the top that's in centimeters, a ruler on the bottom that's in inches, and then this cutout here is to help you make a gauge for your swatches. Well, like when you're making stuff like sweaters where sizing really does matter, that you're supposed to have like 10 stitches per 3 inches and 5 rows per 2 inches, this is to help you do your gauge, okay? And then all these are for your hook sizes. So it starts out with millimeter sizes at 2 and it goes all the way up to 10. Knitting needle sizes a 0 all the way up to 16, and then crochet hook sizes goes from the letter B all the way up to the letter P. But here's the thing with crochet hooks, okay? I'm gonna show you to get a good size one. Alright, this is an H, okay? Here's the hole for the letter H, but you see the head of my crochet hook won't go in there. So they tell you it is, so you can figure out the size of your crochet hook, but the head of the crochet hook, it won't fit in the hole. So what I do is I actually go to the next one. So it's in the hole for the eye, or the 5.5 millimeter. That lets me know it's an H. I know it's a weird way to do it, but it's the only way, you can't actually stick your crochet hooks in there. Weird. Unless you stick the bottom of your crochet hook in there. I don't know. Is the handle part the same size as the shaft part? That's a good question for the makers of the crochet hooks. Because is that how people decide what size their hooks are? By putting in the... Yeah, it fits in the H, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. So I have that in there. Not that I ever need to know what size my hooks are, because most of my hooks are labeled. Very rare do you get crochet hooks that aren't labeled anymore these days. Alright, so what else we got in here? Trying to match up like with like. Okay. Here we go. How about Tunisian crochet hooks? You know how to do Tunisian crochet? Kind of looks like a knitting needle, but it's not a knitting needle. So this is from Susan Bates. It is the letter J, or 6 millimeters. We're working with Tunisian stitches, Tunisian simple stitch, Tunisian knit stitch. Okay. It has a stopper on the end because you wind up having a lot of loops on your hook. So a stopper to keep your hooks from falling off. I mean your loops from falling off. And then I have a second one for Tunisian crochet. It is 4 millimeters, which would be a G. Okay, and it's a little longer. About an inch longer. So yeah, I do play around with Tunisian crochet on occasion, but I actually use something different when I do Tunisian crochet. It's so weird. I have the two hooks, but I actually prefer using this wooden hook that I have. It is an I, or a 5.5 millimeter. And it's a little, you can see, it's a little warped from where my hand sits and how I use it. But because it's got this little design element here, that when I'm using it for Tunisian crochet, my loops and my stitches don't fall off. So I actually use a regular standard crochet hook for Tunisian crochet because it has this decorative element on there. Pretty neat. It is actually one of my favorite hooks. Where did I get this? It was a gift along with my little embroidery scissors. It was a gift. And I love this. I love this hook. I don't know who made it. I don't know what company it comes from. It's not marked with a company name or anything. But I love my wooden hook. And I have one other wooden hook. But it's smaller. And it's from Deborah Norville, I want to say. I bought it in Joann's. So it's an H, or a 5 millimeter. And it's got this coloring on there. This wood. It's beautiful. And I like it, although it does hit me in my, right here on my hand, like everything else does. Although it is a little, wood can be softer on my hands. Beautiful hook. I've used it a few times. I do like it. It's nice and sharp and pointy. And it doesn't get stuck on the yarn. Okay. Alright. How about a plastic hook? I've got one big giant plastic hook. It is size P, or 11.5 millimeters. I have not had the pleasure of using this one yet with super bulky yarn, but it's in my collection in the off chance I ever want to do anything with super bulky yarn. There we go. Random safety pin. Okay, I do have three more hooks from Boy that are a D, a G, and an H that have the rubber grips on them, but they were made for a guy called the Crochet Dude. I actually have more of these, I think, but they're just not all together yet. They're not my favorite hooks. They, for whatever reason, they just the aluminum is very squeaky, and I've even tried cleaning them with warm soapy water, and then the grips, they hold on to all the dust and cat fur, so they're a little different than my other Boy hooks with the rubber grips. I don't know, they're just a little different, so I'm not a big fan of them. So there is the D, which is the 3.25 millimeter. The G, which is a 4.25 millimeter. And the H, which is a 5 millimeter. I have those. Not my favorite, and yet they're still in my bin. Because isn't that what we do? We wind up saving all of them. Alright, so a couple years ago there was a big thing about clover hooks. Everybody's like, I need new crochet hooks. What do you recommend? And everybody recommended clover hooks. So I have 2 of them, although I only seem to have one here in this bin, so the other one is probably somewhere else. It is an E, or a 3.5 millimeter, and it has the rubber grip on it. See, their grip is a little smaller than the boy grip, but it is still extremely comfortable. I do like the clover hook with this grip, okay? Even as much as I like the boy with the grip. I have big hands, so I prefer my grips bigger and wider and fatter, but I really do like the comfort of the clover hook like this. And I like how long they did the shaft on the hook, and it's nice and smooth, and it is a beautiful hook to work with. I think I have, so this is an E. I think I have a G or an H. So I'll find it as I work through all of my projects. So I have that. It is a beautiful hook. It works up wonderfully. It's beautiful to work with. All right. And then the rest are my old school boy hooks that were my grandmom's and my mom's. Well, not that one. That was Susan Bates. I don't know what she's doing in there. Okay. Ready? There's my... These are some of the ones I grew up learning how to crochet on. Like, this is an H. Do you see how the head of it is now crooked? I learned to crochet on that. So it's my crooked hook, and I can still crochet with it. I can still make the adjustments to get that hook in there properly, to use it right. I can't get rid of it. It's got too much sentimental value for me. Way too much sentimental value. I love this hook. I even briefly considered calling my... When I was trying to come up with crochet names for my Facebook page and for a blog, I did briefly consider calling it the Crooked Hook, since I actually do own a crooked hook. But I figured it had too many other connotations to it, so I changed my mind. But it's still a good name, though. Alright. Okay, I'm almost done. Just hang in there with me, okay? So, out of the rest of these hooks here, okay, my smallest hook is also one of my oldest. Again, it's my grandmom's. It's a D, and it's from Boy. And do you see, it actually is a little bent here because of the way we hold it and the way I hold it, that I'm always pushing on this end, so my hook is actually bent a little bit. I am very careful not to use this one anymore because I'm afraid it's going to snap. But again, it's another one that I cannot possibly get rid of. It is my grandmom's, and it holds a lot of sentimental value. And I wish the camera could pick it up because the hook is green. But if you can see on this back side here, it's turning silver because the paint is wearing away from it. So, you know, that's another one. It goes with my crooked hook, okay? And then I have, let's put them in order of size. I have an H, which has teeth marks on it because somebody was probably chewing on it, which I do that often, stick it in my mouth like a pencil. So there's an H. There's an I. A J, a K, And another K. Like, why do I need two sizes of a K when I don't ever use the K to begin with? Because it's a big hook. So I also have an N, which is a 9mm, but it's a newer one because it actually has 9mm on there. I don't ever use this one either. I don't actually work with bulky yarn a lot. It's not a favorite of mine. All right. I've got 5 more hooks to go. I've got 2 Susan Bates hooks. One of them is vintage, but that's not this one. Yeah, I think I'm going to edit that out. All right, so I have two regular aluminum crochet hooks from Susan Bates. I have an H and a J, which is a 5mm and a 6mm. You guys know the difference between Susan Bates and Boy with the way the hooks are built. Susan Bates has this sharpness right here to the hook, and this is called a cut in. Okay? Boy is soft and rounded. Okay, can you see the difference there? Other than that, there's not too much difference in the hooks, you know. Boy has a tendency to be a bit taller. Okay? Which is why I like them better, because when they're taller, they come out past my pinky and they don't hit me in the hand. So there's that. Alright, I have little steel hooks for when you're working with thread. I don't even think they have numbers. This one's rusted. Oh yeah, they don't have letters, it has numbers. So this is a number 4. It's a steel hook. It's used for thread, in which you typically use thread to make doilies. This is a number 1. Made in Czechoslovakia. Wow. Can you see the difference there in those sizes? And this is a Susan Bates. It is a number 7. I don't use them. Again, these are from my grandma. Okay. So those 3, these 2, so that's 5 hooks right there. My grandma's. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are a mix between my grandma and my mom. 6 and 5 is 11. 2 Susan Bates. That's 13. 1 big plastic one, which is number 14. My 2 wooden ones. 16. My 3 from the Crochet Dude. 19. My wood handled one from Susan Bates, which I love that wood handle. That's number 20. I've got 2 rubber grips from Boy, which I really enjoy. So that's 22. 1 clover hook, these are fantastic. That's 23. Did I lose count? 2 Tunisian crochet hooks. That's 25. Knit gauge, crochet gauge, and hook sizing. Embroidery scissors. Fabric scissors. And a wooden button that says Granny Square Peg. So there we go. Between this little shoebox bin with 22 or 23 hooks, I've lost track of which one it is already. Okay. And my zippered pouch, I have 30 crochet hooks sitting here. Okay. Oh yeah, my tape measure. I have more. I have at least a dozen more hooks that are elsewhere. Okay, it's a lot of hooks for one person to be using. I know I have one, two, three, four. I've got four sitting in front of me. They're sitting with different projects. So that's definitely over 30 now. And I know as I go through the rest of my stuff, I'm going to come across more crochet hooks and more patterns and more books and more accessories and more yarn. It's too much. It's too much for one person. It is completely excessive. The year off without being able to crochet because I hurt my arm, it gave me a lot of perspective, and I'm really frustrated with myself that I've got so much stuff. It's way too much stuff for one person. So my mom crochets, but she's got her own hooks. She's got her favorites, and she's got her own problems with her hands, so she prefers different hooks than I do. My grandmother's no longer with us. My great grandmother who crocheted, she's no longer with us. My Aunt Becky, hi Aunt Becky, she crochets, but she's got her own stuff. And while I've got 3 kids, they have no interest in picking up my crochet habit because I have a computer genius, an artist, and a marching band enthusiast. So they have no interest in my crochet stuff, which is fine. It's fine, you know. I'm actually okay with that they're going to go their own way. Alright, one last thing that I pulled out of the bin from my shed, and that's my yarn ball winder. Everybody needs a yarn ball winder for those times when you only use half a skein and it just sits and it gets all tangled up. Wind it up into a cake. Now this one is from Loops and Threads, which is the Michaels in-store brand. So I bought it at Michaels Craft Store. I spent somewhere between $15 and $20 for it years ago. I don't use it as often as I should. Because see, the thing is, I'm actually really good at untangling yarn and then using it right away. So I never really had to wind it up. But I've been practicing winding it. So it's got this little clip to help you connect it to a table. And then it's all manual. It's got the handle, and this helps guide the yarn onto this spool right here, and it makes a cake. Now this is only built for yarn up to like maybe holding 4 ounces of yarn. It won't do a really big skein of yarn. It really is for when you only have half left. Depending on my mood, sometimes I wind the yarn up really tight in a cake. Sometimes I wind it up really loose. But it is part of my tools that I use. I have no recommendations. It's just what I'm cheap, so I bought the cheapest one on the shelf. You know. So there we go. I showed you my yarn ball winder, my zippered pouch that has crochet hooks in it, and I showed you my little shoebox bin full of crochet hooks, and this is not all of them. I will have more by the time I go through all of my stuff, and it's going to take me a while. It's going to take me at least a good year to go through all of my stuff. So if you guys want to see my journey, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you can see my videos when they do come out. I do have a bin in the house that is full of yarn, and I went through it the other day. My footage is kind of crappy, and I don't think I had showered that day, but I am going to edit the video, and I am going to put it out, because you know what, that's what life is. I can't always be showered and in clean clothes. Sometimes I'm in pajamas, you know, sometimes it's a rough day, sometimes it's a long day, sometimes you get tired. I am going to do edits on it, and I am going to put that video out and show you all the yarn that's in the bin and what my plans are with it. Hopefully I told you what my plans are with it. I don't know which blanket I'm going to be showing you this week. I haven't picked one yet because I still got 5 or 6 more from 2015 to pick. I think maybe I'll pick my crochet along, the first crochet along I did, because I actually still have that blanket in the house. So I think anyway, so besides this video today about my crochet hooks, there should be another video this week or over the weekend about yarn in a bin, and then another video about the next blanket or project that I pull out of the pile. Okay. If you like today's video, give me a thumbs up. Do you guys collect crochet hooks? Now, some people legitimately collect hooks because they're different or they're exotic. So if you have a collection, let me know. Drop a comment down below. Or do you, like some of us, when you need to use a G and you can't find all your G's because they're with your projects and you just go out and buy a new one? Drop a comment down below. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you go out and buy another hook because you can't find your other ones. So that's it for today, and I will see you guys in a couple days. Bye.